didn't make that point. You're right about the Democrats. He's right.
Okay.
But the Democrats hate anybody that hasn't come up. The Democrats are labor on steroids now.
Right.
They used to be completely the opposite. The whole party has changed. Their latest thing is to enact a law in Congress that that presidents who are in prison cannot have Secret Service protection.
Right.
That's so that if Trump gets a custodial sentence, he can get bumped off by the other inmates. They really want to get rid of him.
Yeah, and of course we all know what happened to Epstein. The security cameras went off just as he died, and of course,
and you have a New York traffic court judge presiding over the trial of a former American president. The whole thing is a joke. The best one, the one I like the most, I keep saying this I've been on 7 different TV programs the last few days, and I've said this, and nobody knows what I'm talking about, because we don't get the news here in the UK and Europe. They block it. What is the Adult Survivors Act? I don't know. It's an act that was passed by the New York State Legislature exactly 2 years ago. Well, in May, 2 years ago. And it says this: if you were raped or sexually abused 58 years ago and you haven't done anything about it, you're quite clearly barred by the statute of limitations, as you would be here or anywhere else. But hey, you know what? We're going to open it up, and you've got 12 months in which to file that lawsuit civilly now. And it's very clear that all of that was enacted by the legislators in New York State as a state law to enable the dreadful E. Jean Carroll to sue Donald Trump for sexual abuse and defamation 137 years ago.
I mean, I was reading, it's all fixed. And I was reading, even the CNN's legal analysis, I'm not a CNN fan at all. I despise them. But their analyst said this is a joke case, the conviction,
When
it's
CNN
a zombie
says
case.
When CNN says
legal analysis,
case, it's a joke case.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, the Justice Department they didn't prosecute. It's going to fall apart in the appeal, I think, isn't it? But by then, of course, the BBC and the New York Times blazon their headlines guilty. And of course, the European press and the Swedish press that you despise rightly, but don't know it. They went to town on this story. When they say the word Trump, they say it's like the old Soviet news announcers. They're all method actors, and Yuri Levitan, I think, was the most famous one. And when he said something, you knew exactly what you had to think of the Western. He said the word capitalism in a certain way, and then you knew you had to hate capitalism. And Swedish news announcers are exactly the same. They say the word Trump in a particular accent, and then you know that he's a really bad man. So
I'm not sure. I'm not sure he'll win the appeal in the New York courts because
Supreme Court,
the fix is in. But if he goes to the Supreme Court, my information, my intel is, and a lot of other people's, is that the justices of the Supreme Court, who are not obviously fixable in the way that local elected politicians and, people, they are getting apparently very upset at the way the law and the legal system is being handled at the moment. They don't like this, the Supreme Court justices, and I can understand that. As an American lawyer myself, I am incensed. I am disgusted that the legal system, I'm an officer of the court in America, and the legal system that I worked so hard, studied so hard to become a part of, worked so hard in for so many years, is being hijacked by a bunch of cheap-ass politicians for their own personal agendas. I really hate that and loathe that, and I hope that Trump gets in, and as he said, puts every one of those so-and-sos in jail.
That's right. Okay. Well, I hope so too. Roger Gewolb, thank you very much. Fantastic to have you on. Let's have you on again when Farage, that story develops a little bit more.